Hey everyone, I'm Nathan, and today has been a very exciting week in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. The community successfully banded together, and we got Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast to back off and not rescind the OGL, which is a huge accomplishment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I envy you. But today we're here to discuss something a little different and a little more fun. Also announced this week was that Critical Role is going to be doing an animated Mighty Nein TV show. I like Vox Machina a lot, but I have to be 100% honest. I am a Campaign 2 baby. I joined the bandwagon, I think like right before the Kickstarter went off, so I thought I would celebrate by doing a digital painting, and you guys can all see my speed draw of it while we have a little chit chat about what we know so far and the like. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So this is what we know so far. We have like a teaser image with a script that's like Mighty Nein the pilot, and then we have the silhouette of all our main characters. I love this a lot. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that there is no Caduceus in this lineup, and that makes perfect sense. So this video will contain spoilers for Campaign 2. Just be very cautious of that. I'll let you know right before I get into something super spoilery, but just be mindful as you go forward. Caduceus doesn't appear until later in the series, so I'm really glad that we're not like introducing him right off the bat. I think that's actually really good. So what am I painting? I decided to paint my favorite characters from Campaign 2, which is Jester, Caleb, and Nott. Now, this is normally what I would call a sketching phase, but it's more of an underpainting phase. I just wanted to be so chill when I did this piece. Like, I didn't want to stress out about it at all, so I used an additive method of drawing instead of the normal cell shading version I do. So the way I do this in Procreate is that I just have one file and I paint a whole bunch on it, and then I have another layer and another layer and another layer. And the idea is that I'm always adding on top of my previous digital painting. So that's why I use the word additive. Like I'm just adding more on top of it until it's a finished piece. And the end product is a little more painterly. Like there are no hard outlines because an outline requires like a very intricate sketch and then an outline, and then you go underneath the outline in a layer to like fill in the color. And I wasn't about that life. I was like, let's be stress-free and keep moving forward. But anyway, there are several different phases of what this composition looks like, and I absolutely love the composition of this image. It's very simple, but it's very effective. It's just like all three of my fave characters together, but I love this overlap, like how Caleb and Jester are right next to each other, but how in perspective they're just like Caleb's looking forward and Jester's like looking over her shoulder and she's in profile. And she's just scoping out for like danger. But then I also love how I have Nott up on Caleb's shoulders. I think it's just really cute. I love how I use the sun as like a device to just kind of circle these are the most important characters. It's a really simple composition, but it does what I want it to do. There is a beautiful moment where it just looks like every fiction book designed from the past like decade. I don't know if you guys have seen that trend with like fiction novels, but they all look like this. So now I'm gonna go through my favorite characters and why I love them so much and moments that I want to see in the animated series. So number one is going to be Caleb, my little sad boy wizard. I love him so much, but what I'm really hoping that we get to see out of this series is his LGBTness, like how queer he is, because he was in like a poly relationship with a man and a woman, and then he also ends up with Essik. Because of the nature of the story, in the actual campaign, there is very little explicit screen time of him being queer. Like, it's all implied, and we only really see him in a romantic light with one of the three people in the throuple he was with. And then we also just don't get him and Essik together at all, really. There really isn't any time to build that romantic tension to ship Caleb and Essik, because we just don't see them a lot. And I'm hoping that this animated series will change that, even though Essek will probably definitely not be in the beginning of this series. I can't talk about Caleb really without talking about Nott, because Nott is my like second favorite character. I drew Nott as like a little digimon with like big terriermon ears. I just do this for fun because that's the way I enjoy drawing goblins. I think it's really cute when they're just big and floofy, but you know, rest assured Nott will be a 3 multi-dimensional character in the actual show. And I love Nott for being funny and relatable, but also just like, I just love the humor that Nott provides because she's really scared and anxious of the world, but she kind of like flings herself into danger anyway because she knows she has to get the job done in order to like eventually be with her family in the future. I'm now going to talk about my favorite arc in Critical Role. So if you don't want spoilers, in the description, I have timestamps. Just skip ahead to whenever the spoilers aren't going on anymore. But yeah, so the reason why Nott and Caleb are two of my favorite characters is because they play a really big role in my favorite arc of the show, which is interesting because my favorite character is Jester. I think she's so amazing, the little blue tiefling. One of my favorite arcs of the show is when Molly Mock dies. The stakes become real. We understand that, oh, these adventurers can die and that this is really serious. And it really feels like the start of the story. But also like Jester, Ford, and Yasha are kidnapped for the arc, so they're completely absent. So just Caleb, Nott, and Bo have to like band together in order to find temporary allies. I love that arc so much because there's like so much explicit queer activity happening between Keg and Bo. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so gay and it's so beautiful. But then we also meet Caduceus, who is like very asexual and wise and like amazing. And then we have the Furbolg that they meet. You know, we don't know at the time that Nott's a mother in this moment. So all of these three characters just relate to the three characters in the arc so well. And that whole adventure, it's just so beautiful, like the way people change and grow. And then the team really forms and becomes a unit. Ugh, it's just amazing. That is my favorite arc, but I don't know if I want to see it in season 1. Like, I almost feel like that needs to be a season 2 thing. I feel like the big question on people's minds for the animated show is, when is Molly Mock dying? Because there's a lot of content before Molly Mock dies, but a grand majority of the Mighty Nein story is with Caduceus and Molly's dead. But if you kill him too soon, then the character, we don't understand why that death matters, and we also don't feel it for the rest of the show. So I think Molly has to either die at the end of season 1, that's the big reveal, or at the beginning of season 2, which I think is really kind of ballsy. If we end the show with just the kidnapping of Jester, Ford, and Yasha, and then we start the next season off with, you know, oh, well, here's the team, we're all together and we're about to go into it, and then Molly dies, it's like even more jarring. What the heck? But I'm really interested to see what they adapt and for how long. Like, I know they have to meet at the circus. That's just like what's gonna happen. But are we going to do the whole arc with the demon toad? And if we do, is that gonna be 1 episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes? Like, I think the pacing for the show is gonna be so interesting. And I really hope they get it right. I have a lot of confidence in them, but oh, these are just like my little babies. I really want them to do well. And so now that I've gushed about all of that, I think I will now just take a moment to talk about Jester. Jester is my absolute favorite character. I'm pretty sure she's like everyone's favorite character because she's just so wonderful. And I started watching this show in my life when I really needed to learn a lot of lessons from Jester. She really taught me that you don't have to be like the prettiest or the smartest or the most powerful or the most well-connected. That if you're just like kind and tricky, you can change the world. And that was like really nice to hear all those years ago when I was like watching Campaign 2 on Twitch. Jester has her own difficulties though with the hop over from actual play D&D live stream on Twitch to animated TV show. Again, spoilers ahead, but if you're still here, Jester and the Hag and the Cupcake. This is like so important. I don't know if they can make it hit the same in an animated format because all of the tension that comes out of that episode is because we as viewers know how the dice work and we know how Matt is as a DM, have kind of forgotten about the cupcake and the dust of deliciousness. So when all of these things culminate together in a way that none of us expected and all of us believe as we're watching it, there's no way this will work. It's impossible. And it really felt impossible. So when Jester did it and she made the impossible happen and Laura Bailey made the impossible happen in that moment, I felt like the whole world, everyone watching, we all like stood to our feet and cheered. Like I remember tweeting about like, that was amazing. And if you were there for that moment, it was such a like adrenaline rush of emotions. I have no idea how you translate that into an animated show, but I think the key is like take a lot of liberties. The only thing that we really need to have is we need the hag and we need Jester with the dust of deliciousness and the cupcake to overpower her. I think you can do a lot more than that. Like, you can change the context of when we meet the witch. It could be earlier or later, and we could also like change whose arc is happening, because it's weird because that whole event sort of happened post a bow arc but in the middle of a Nott arc, yet the person who did the solution was Jester, and it was like none of the storyline was about you. So it's almost like this plot beat needs to be in the middle of a Jester arc somehow, yet we're so far away from Nicodranus. I don't know. I'm just really fascinated by adaptation. I think it's such a cool thing that we do with stories, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. Also, I guess I should have said this in the Nott section, but I'll go ahead and say it here. I'm very interested to see how they cast the animated show, because I was really proud with how Gilmore was actually a person of South Asian descent voicing him in Vox Machina. And I feel like, as much as I love the main cast, both Bo and Nott are very much coded to be women of color. So unless they like lighten Bo's skin tone, I think like someone of Asian descent should probably voice Bo. And that's just so hard to say, because like Marisha created this character and voiced this character for so long. But I don't know. Do you guys think that there's a new kind of responsibility once the adaptation leaps from a role-playing game to animation? Let me know in the comments down below, because this is something I think about a lot. And then with Nott, I think Nott just has to be played by a woman of color, like specifically an indigenous woman, because of how she's coded, right? Or can Sam just play her? It'd be weird for Sam to like voice her as a goblin who isn't a woman of color coded, but then when she becomes a woman of color to still have Sam's voice. I don't know, it's just kind of icky. Or maybe you guys don't mind at all and you think that's the point of voice acting. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on and on. I'll now talk a little bit about the piece. This is the finished image. So I really like how it came out with the rendering and the backlighting, and I really love how I did these walls. My idea was that this was like in Xhorhas when they were going through the tomb of the Angel of Irons. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below your favorite Mighty Nein character, what you're excited to see in the animated show, what your favorite part of this video was. And if you really want to support the channel, check out my Patreon, where for just $4 a month, you can have your name in the end credits. Also, tiny announcement, there's going to be a bonus episode this Monday. My little sign off is I post every Wednesday and Saturday, which is true, but I'm working on an extra video that I'm going to post on Monday, just for funsies, extra content. Why you complaining? And with that, let's get into our favorite part of the video, the end credits. Special thanks to Blue Uwu, Christopher, MOE, Game of Catan on IG, Gay Jairus, Melon, Prance, SL Blue, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Thumper Daytime, Tarthalinor, Tuesdays Anyways, and Tuppets Pies. My name is Nathan. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'll see you soon. Bye!